In a galaxy where alien empires enslave the weak, a single whisper travels across the void, raw, desperate, and almost too faint to be real. Humanity hears it. They don't debate. They don't bargain. They launch an entire evacuation fleet into hostile territory, because someone begged for help, and that's all it took for humans to act. The distress signal was faint, barely a whisper of broken code bouncing off dead satellites and fractured relay stations in the ruins of Sector 9. It wasn't supposed to be possible. That part of the Orion Arm had been listed as extinct for 30 years, burned and gutted by the Dominion Wars. But inside the command deck of the Atlas Dawn, humanity's newest deep space rescue carrier, one young officer leaned closer to the cracked receiver. "Captain, it's not noise. It's a call for help." The captain, weathered gray-eyed, every wrinkle cut by loss, narrowed his gaze at the faint pulse on the hollow screen. "Source? Surface of Vathra Prime," the officer said, barely believing the words. "Dominion kill zone. No survivors logged." The captain didn't hesitate. "Lock in a trajectory. If someone's whispering, someone's alive." The Atlas Dawn dropped from FTL above a world wrapped in scars. Oceans blackened, cities collapsed into molten graves, air thick with burnt metallic haze. Deep scanners swept the surface, and among the devastation, they found her, alone, huddled beneath the remains of a shattered dome, sending her plea through a jury-rigged transmitter patched together from battlefield wreckage. The first drone footage caught a glimpse of her, an alien girl no older than 20 by human measure, crouched inside the skeletal frame of the bunker. Her skin shimmered faintly blue, streaked with ash and cuts. Her body trembled as she pressed thin, elegant fingers to the signal array, her lips moving, whispering in a language the ship's AI could barely translate. "Please, someone, anyone, don't let me die here." She looked up when the drone's shadow fell over her. Wide, luminous eyes, teal with faintly glowing pupils, locked onto the lens, shimmering with both terror and hope. Her body was slight yet strong, built for survival yet softened by curves that spoke of her youth, her chest rising sharply with ragged breaths, legs folded beneath her, dirt clinging to the smooth skin of her thighs. Her torn survival garment clung to her like a second skin, tattered around the edges but still intact enough to shield her dignity as she shivered in the toxic chill. Around her neck, a cracked Dominion shock collar blinked weakly, half broken, half active, promising death if she strayed too far from her transmitter. The captain didn't wait for confirmation from Fleet Command. "Deploy the Evac fleet. She's not dying on my watch." Within minutes, human rescue pods burned through the atmosphere, engines screaming against gravity. They landed hard around her, forming a defensive ring as soldiers in reinforced exosuits fanned out, weapons hot. One knelt, removing his helmet so she could see his human face, soft eyes, calm voice cutting through the roar of battle. "We heard you," he said. "You're safe now." She didn't answer at first, just stared at him like a dream had reached out and touched her. Slowly, she rose, knees shaking, body weak from starvation, but something inside her still strong enough to take his offered hand. The moment her fingers brushed his palm, her knees buckled, and he caught her, lifting her like something precious. The Dominion didn't let the rescue go unchallenged. Dark shapes screamed across the ruined sky, gunships tearing through cloud layers like metal predators. "Incoming!" the tactical officer shouted over comms. "Multiple fast movers, 2 minutes out." The captain didn't blink. "Then give me 1 minute to get her off this rock." The soldiers hustled her into the first evac pod, wrapping a thermal cloak around her trembling frame. Inside, she couldn't stop staring at their armor, their strange, strong faces, the way they moved not like hunters but protectors. One soldier adjusted the cloak gently around her shoulders, speaking softly as the pod powered up. "You're not alone anymore." Above, the Atlas Dawn deployed its full complement, dozens of human ships roaring into defensive formation, cannons charging with blinding plasma light. The Dominion ships hit like a tidal wave, black metal serpents spitting fire, but the human fleet answered with fury, every gun speaking the same promise. She called. "We came." Inside the evac pod, the girl flinched as the first blasts rocked the atmosphere, eyes wide, lips trembling. One soldier rested a hand lightly on her arm, meeting her gaze with unshaken calm. "We're not losing you. Not after what it took to hear your voice." Moments later, the pod shot upward, engines howling, slamming through the atmosphere toward orbit. She felt the lift in her chest, the sharp jolt of weightlessness, as Vathra's dead surface fell away below her. For a moment, fear faded, replaced by awe as she glimpsed the fleet through the small viewport, towering human carriers, escorts, and gunships forming a steel shield around her path to safety. The Dominion realized too late, this wasn't a scavenger pickup. This was a full evacuation response. Human torpedoes screamed through the void, ripping enemy gunships into twisted metal. Plasma flares lit the dark like angry suns. But through it all, the Atlas Dawn held steady, catching the evac pod in its hangar as soon as it breached atmosphere. The hatch opened. Warm air spilled inside, carrying the faint hum of life support and human voices. She stepped out, barely steady, into a world of steel corridors and bright lights, soldiers standing aside with quiet respect. The captain approached, eyes sharp, voice steady but something softer beneath. "You made it," he said simply. "You're safe now." She stared at him, her lips parting like she might speak. Then her voice broke into a whisper, trembling but clear enough to carry. "You came for me." The captain didn't answer with words. He just placed a steady hand on her shoulder, guiding her gently toward the med bay. And as the hangar doors sealed behind them, the human fleet burned a path through the Dominion blockade, guns roaring not just for one life, but for the promise of all who would whisper for help in the dark.